Welcome to the Indomitable podcast. I'm your host, Di Cerullo, and today we have a very special episode that will leave you inspired. Our guest today is Andrii Lytvynov, and he is a director-level software engineer with expertise in developing and maintaining infrastructure, which is a very specific and sought-after background in my field of tech. He's a member of the queer community. He's passionate about books, travel, and meeting new people. And he is the cat dad of the handsomest cat I have ever met. And last year, he moved to the U.S. after his home country of the Ukraine was invaded on February 24th of 2022. As someone lucky enough to call him family, I cannot wait to have this conversation with you all. All right, well, hello, Andrii. I am so excited to have you here. All right, so first of all, thanks for coming on. Before we get too conversational, why don't you introduce yourself a little and then just explain to folks who aren't us how we know each other?
Yeah, thank you for having me here.
Yes, of course.
It's an honor actually to participate in the podcast. This is my first podcast ever.
Excited it's me.
I'm so excited, especially with you. We talked a lot,
yeah.
But this is more like public level, and it's so interesting.
Yes.
So I'm 35 years old. I started my IT career 15 or 16 years ago, as that was my hobby. I was just trying to build some first website, and I was so excited about this, and then I became a web developer. I worked like 7 or 8 years as a just web developer. Then I founded my company. Me and a few of my friends, we founded a company. We've been like outsourcing web software development company. I grew up from just developer to CTO of the company, and I had to participate a lot of roles like infrastructure engineer, DevOps, just a web developer. So you when you're founding something, you have to deal with a lot of not related to your position stuff. You should be like a secretary, like janitor, like psychotherapist.
Yes, the bathroom's messed up. It's your job. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so that was really exciting experience for me. We've been like. We held this company for 5 years, and I can say like that was a lot of experience, and I grew up so much these positions. But unfortunately, when we were like the war was going to come to Ukraine, we had to sell the company because that would definitely kill us, and we will be like owing money to our developers because of crisis that war can bring. So we sold the company, and I found a job in Boston.
Yes.
In this nice company where I met you and your wonderful husband.
Well, thank you. So take us back to the beginning of the invasion. What was the information you were getting on the ground, and what ultimately prompted you to take it seriously?
Yeah, I was expecting this question just because you played a huge role there. After a few months, so I found this job in a job in October, and we were working hard all this time, and we chat a lot. And like one day, I remember you said like, "Do you read the news?" I said, "Yeah, of course I'm reading." And you said like, hey, something going to happen, something bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, you started to send me the news and like links. And actually that was a trigger to change my mind and to start thinking to leave Ukraine before the conflict, before something will start. You and Jay like helped me overcome the thought that I have to leave my motherland.
Right.
I have to leave all my friends. And especially nobody believed since the news were, let's say, they were censored.
Right.
Our country was like covering us from a lot of actions that were happening on the Russia side and so on.
Right.
And so we were suffering from the lack of the news. Not too much.
Right.
And I started to look for like international sites like BBC and so on, and like
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
I was convinced that something going to happen, and I tried to convince my friends that we should have a plan B in the
Yeah.
case of something happens.
Right.
And a lot of my friends were not like saying nothing will happen, like the war in 2022,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
like with Russia, like the
Yeah.
brothers, sisters,
Yeah.
like no, it cannot be happen. They may like threat us, may like say something, may be
Right.
really bad in the words to us, but no, this won't happen. Nobody believed this. And I had to fight with this, and like I had to like believe in myself that I'm doing something like acting correctly,
Right.
and I should leave the country. So I started gathering all my like documents to get the visa in some country like Cyprus. I was planning to move there because it's actually super easy to move there, but you have to obtain the visa for a year.
Right.
You have to prepare all your documents. Like I did a lot of preparation, so I obtained driver license in a very urgent
Yeah.
term.
Yeah.
I have to pass like all medical checks, like to know that I'm healthy enough to travel and to stay somewhere without like health insurance and not being like protected enough. So I did a lot of work, and I left Ukraine 22nd of February in the evening. So me and my boyfriend, we had tickets for 26th of February.
Right.
But we negotiated that if something happens to our tickets, I mean, the flight will be canceled. We will buy just first tickets, like first available airline somewhere else, like I don't know, like Turkey, like Switzerland, anywhere, and just immediately leave the country. So 22nd of and also for this, since that was like COVID was like ending.
Yes.
Like let's say it already finished.
Yeah.
So it was ending, and we had to do a PCR test every day during the week, like the last week, because you know that you cannot travel without PCR test, without like proving that you're healthy.
Right.
So we did a lot of preparations. And 22nd of February, I got the notification in my email that your flight has been cancelled.
Oh my God.
So in 30 minutes, I bought the first tickets, like to Istanbul from Odessa. It's like 600 kilometers to fly, 400 miles.
Yep.
And so very short flight, but this is a different country.
Right.
And we immediately left the country. We gathered all our stuff. Thanks God we were preparing everything during last few weeks. So we gathered all my clothes, all, I don't know, like laptops, everything.
Right.
And we left. And we stayed in Istanbul for 2 or 3 days. And one morning, 24th of February, my boyfriend woke up and said, "The war has begun." It's like it's so frightening because like this phrase, "the war has begun." I don't know if I'm like translating it correctly in English. It's so scary because it was the same like when Second World War began, when Germany invaded Soviet Union. The same phrase sounded in any family. And it's so frightening. It was so frightening. And I immediately, like, when you're sleeping, it was like 8 a.m.
Yeah.
I was sleeping, and like I immediately woke up, like opened all my messengers, like, and there was thousands of messages, like about what has happened, what's happening, where happened, what did explode, what was attacked. Like I was calling my mother, like, to check if they're okay. They said, "Yeah, we are okay," but we all like shocked. It was super stressful for us. And after that, we moved to Cyprus through Egypt, and we stayed there for six months. till I took a decision to come to United States. It was pretty scary thing.
Yeah. And now I know this, but people listening don't know this. You took people with you, right, when you moved?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So yeah, I took my boyfriend, my for now unfortunately ex-boyfriend.
mhm,
War breaks the
mhm.
families, breaks the
Yes.
relationship. So it's kind of crisis for not like for everyone, not just because of the war, but like checking your like strengths of your relationship.
Yes,
Unfortunately,
of
my
course.
relationship didn't stand it.
Right.
So I took my ex, and then like I was pushing my brother, like, please go right now when the borders are still open,
Hmm.
and man can leave the country because
Right.
there were no order from the president
Hmm.
that we are in a status of war,
Yep.
and the man should be kept
Yes. Yeah.
and within the country they cannot leave. So
Right.
I was pushing them for 2 days almost,
Hmm.
and when they decided to move out, everything already was closed. So unfortunately my brother's wife and his daughter only could leave the
Hmm.
country,
Hmm.
and he stayed in Ukraine, and they came to me to Cyprus. They brought my cat.
Right.
I couldn't bring him because the documents was not like for him this rabies
Yep. Yep.
report and everything,
Yep.
like it was not ready. It was ready only a few days after.
Of
So
course.
they brought my cat,
Hmm.
and we lived in Cyprus for like 6 months. I remember these faces arriving because people from Ukraine started like go into the closest countries, so all and Europe, and they just leaving the country, and they all of them were like shocked, and they didn't know what to do, like how they left their houses, they
Hmm.
left their animals, they left
Hmm.
their cats, dogs, unattended.
Hmm.
Somebody thought that they will return in day two, and they left the cat at home closed
Hmm.
without like with some small portion of food.
Hmm.
And there was like, and they were calling everybody who stayed in these cities, and please break the door, take my cat, feed my cat. And there was like a lot of such stories. People were shocked. They took only like few shirts, coat, like documents, some money they had. It was a catastrophe. People didn't know what to do. Right now they are more adapted to living abroad, dealing
Hmm.
with other language, with other culture, with other mentality. For
Hmm.
example, like difference like Germany, Ukraine, we have some different mentality, but we have to deal with it because some of us just don't have home anymore.
Right.
And that was very tough time, and we were helping a lot. So like we did a lot of charity. Like I
Hmm.
spent a lot of money from my own savings, like helping these people, helping like donating to the army.
Hmm.
We brought like few pickups, we bought ammunition, we bought equipment for the soldiers, for my friends that are still fighting. Thanks God they are alive and still
Yes.
fighting, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, it's hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it was a really tough time and still tough time. But now I can't like I don't know if it's good or bad, but people can adapt to everything.
Yeah.
And even like I remember the words of my mother a year ago. I was still like living with in your house that moment, and I actually told you these words. They said, "Yeah, there were like missiles. They destroyed a few buildings in our neighborhood, and like we have no power right now, no like electricity. We still have gas. We have some water for a
Hmm.
few days." And she said, like, yeah, it's bad, but it's still better than to live in Russia.
Sorry. I knew what you were gonna say, but your mom is so spicy. You know what I mean? That like she
Yeah,
always,
my mom very sassy. Like
ooh,
she's very like through
she's
the humor. She has like this defense through the humor.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Oh man, every time I get a Andrii's mom quote, I feel strengthened by I feel like I'm just being a wimp about life. How did it feel to be in Cyprus among so many different cultures? Because I know that you said that there were a lot of people fled to Cyprus and a lot of people fled to the surrounding areas. How did it feel to sort of all be together reacting to sort of the same event, but from different perspectives?
It's like we were we were united with the same like let's say thread. We are like
Hmm.
these pieces of
Right.
jewelry
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
golden thread. So we the first thing was like that everything is temporary, and we like someday this nightmare will finish. And the second one that we are from the same land. We
Mm.
are like brothers. Like I cannot explain, but at these moments, you understand that any argues, any
Hmm.
problems, I mean, anything, it's like vanished.
Mm.
Mm, Makes sense only that you are from the same land.
Yeah.
You are like brothers and sisters.
Hmm.
Only you can help each other, and like that helped us to be strong. Yeah, the countries helped us. I mean, Cyprus, European countries, they helped us a lot. But still, when you had to leave your home because you were like running away of like war, um,
Yeah.
it's really hard to keep yourself like strong,
Yeah.
to be strong.
Right.
And yeah, so every time we met somebody at the street, like speaking Ukrainian or Russian,
Hmm.
and we understand the accent, so like
Hmm.
Ukrainian, and like each time the feeling was like to hug,
Mm.
like
Hmm.
you no, but you don't know the name. You see this
No.
person for the first time, but
Yeah.
you want to hug.
Right. Wow.
And like you're running and like, oh, where are you from? I'm like from Chernivtsi and so on. Like I'm
Hmm.
from Odessa. You talking. We exchange numbers. Do you want to come to come to us like for barbecue and so on? Like we have like spare room. If you want to come, we can stay. And like
Yeah.
we like it's nothing else matters.
Yeah.
It like completely. Only that you find somebody like relative. You find like
Right.
brother or
Right.
sister. It was so thrilling. It's like it's showing, the war is like the worst thing that had happened to this world.
Right.
But this thing shows you that there are like some values that we lost,
Right.
and you understand this only, unfortunately, on these like critical moments.
Right. Right. That yearning for that familiarity bred that closeness instantly. That's incredible. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Whew, God, I'm trying to give you breaks here, but then I have so many amazing questions for you. It's so great to talk to you about this.
Feel free to
So
ask.
I know. So what ultimately made you come to the United States?
uh, you.
I didn't talk up the US. You'd already decided to come here. So that's what I meant. What
Yeah.
made your goal the United States?
So I always dreamt to visit the United States,
Mm-hmm.
and let's say when I was a child, I was watching a lot of movies about the United
Mm-hmm.
States, and
We're great at selling
for
ourselves.
us, for like we call movies from Western world, like
Yeah.
like United States mostly. The United States, Canada, some like other continent is something unreachable, something, let's say, almost just another planet.
Wow. Yeah.
And especially for Ukrainians, pretty hard to get visa. and to
Mm.
travel, and you should have like decent amount of money, and it's really far to travel. You don't know what will happen to you there. It's like kind of scary thing.
Mhm.
And for me, that was like I thought that it's just hard to get there, and maybe I shouldn't try. So I just closed for myself this question. Never
Right.
asked myself, should I go to United States or not? And the war happened, and the United States all like made easier for us
Yeah.
the way to come.
Hmm.
And I decided maybe like yeah, the war is bad, but probably the doors are opening and give you more opportunities.
Right.
And I thought I think maybe it's a good idea to come.
Right.
And I just like convinced myself that I should come to United States. And I came here in August 2022. I came here. I didn't know what will happen to me here. Like how I know that the United States is pretty expensive, and that was actually true. You
That
know
turned out to be
this.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, and like for me as Ukrainian, we have like completely different salaries and so on, and I just wasn't sure that I will be safe or like safe here, like mentally stable here mentally, because first time, especially immigrant crisis, is kind of very hard thing. You sometimes like first few days you come, it's not everything is nice, you are so excited about everything
Everything.
around you,
Yeah.
but after like few months your friends are somewhere else. You
Yeah.
live in a different, like in the country with different mentality. It's not like different in super communication, but still you feeling loneliness. You feeling just not protected,
Hmm.
and you have. And the most difficult thing that a lot of processes, like a lot of things, you have to start from the scratch, from completely new beginning. And a lot of people cannot stand this. A lot of people go back to Ukraine, go back like they say, I'm okay to live here, but I cannot live in countries where I like I have to adapt a lot. I have to put a lot of effort for adaptation,
Right.
and it's hard. So I'm already well, like I'm passing through this. I think I'm doing good.
Hmm.
But still, sometimes it's like roller coaster. Sometimes you're under the surface of water and like thinking, what I'm doing here? Like it's so
Mm.
tough. Like where are my friends? Where is my family? Like
Hmm.
all my friends, they are spread along like along the world.
Hmm.
So I cannot name the country where I have two friends. They
Hmm.
all like one friend in Switzerland, one friend in Germany, one friend in Cyprus, one friend in Canada.
Hmm.
Like they are like living everywhere.
Hmm.
And the place, like my home, Odessa, where like we were living in the same neighborhood, very like easy to reach each other. To my friends were living these like the floor behind, like under my
Yep.
apartment. Exactly. So for me to call them to come to me for a few drinks, I just needed to jump loudly few times, and they knew that like I'm inviting them to come. I didn't message them at all. Like I'm just like
Yeah.
that's all. And they were coming. Like I remember my friend would like they were like my can I say goddaughter?
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
god like yeah.
Goddaughter. Yep.
So the goddaughter and her parents, they came in pajamas one day because I jumped loudly, and like I said like, oh, yeah, I have some wine, and like I bought like some
Yeah.
prosecco and so on. Like let's have a party. So
Hmm.
and like it was so the, the contrast of changes was so huge
Right.
from like war, like comfortable, calm home atmosphere. You are changing to completely like changing unstable, cold
Hmm.
sea with huge waves, and you don't know where these waves will bring you
Right.
to.
Right.
And it's so hard. It's so hard. So all people, all my friends that I have already some few Ukrainian friends here, and they're passing through the same exactly
Yeah.
like thing.
Yeah. It's a vulnerability. Being in a new place, especially after
Yes.
after so much trauma, being in a new place is destabilizing. It's hard to, and the United States has such an individualized community. Like we're all so,
Yeah, I
what
already
you're
got
describing is
it.
exactly what you're describing is a community-based culture. And then to go from
Yeah.
that post trauma to a culture that focuses so much more on individualism, that must have been really hard.
Yeah, especially in Ukraine is different. Like there are like cons and pros.
Hmm.
So we have problem. We good that we are very close to each other. We
Hmm.
easily share the information. We easily help each other. We like all of us like relatives. Maybe
Right,
some far relatives, but still
right,
relatives. And
right,
this is like a advantage. But disadvantage is that nobody respect your boundaries.
right.
Respect your Yep, yeah, that you want to be someone like you want to be a personality, you want to have something different,
Yeah.
and it's a problem of our society. It's a legacy of USSR,
Hmm.
where we all should be like copy paste. When you like people are copy pasted, they
Hmm.
have the same set of properties. Like
Hmm. Yep.
it's hard to be personality there,
Right. Individual.
and especially like LGBTs too.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and here, like, yeah, here people respect your boundaries, and I like this. I'm still um, getting pleasure of how people like when we are different,
Hmm.
we are not conflicting. We are just like, oh, it's good. So I don't have to convince somebody that this is my life. I want to be like this,
Hmm.
and I want to be gay. I don't want to be somebody else, and so on.
Right.
It was, it's so cool that you can be yourself here, but
Yes.
sometimes people keep so huge distance, like because they are used to they like to live their individual life, like
Hmm.
personal, and
Hmm.
sometimes this distance is completely unovercomable, and
Right.
you cannot. And yeah, and I understand that I shouldn't like try to pass it, like overcome it, but still, sometimes I think that like a lot of people sometimes may suffer from loneliness here because they don't know how to communicate. They
Right.
don't know I have a real idea that people are living in like spheres, like if you know Zorba, like
Yeah.
balls,
Yeah.
and they cannot communicate because they have like they got
Yeah.
used to live in this
Hmm.
sphere. You're living in such a
Silo.
crowded
Yeah.
place,
Yeah.
but you're still lonely, and
Yes.
it's so it's
Yes.
it's paradox.
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean, I think that like there's probably a lot of, especially for someone who's gone through, I mean, I think trauma is isolating. And I think that that's interesting because
Yes.
it should be the other way around. So, like, trauma should be something that brings people together, like it did for you when you were in Cyprus and you would meet people on the street that you could hear them
Yeah.
speaking your home language and you would feel so moved to that immediate familiarity. But for some reason, we don't always see that here. So, we don't always see that in the United States, especially when we are overcome by so many different types of individualizing trauma, right? So because of our
Mhm.
traumas, we feel ashamed and we feel silenced and we feel, like we need to keep all of that into tiny boxes. So I think that that's a really interesting difference that maybe we didn't think about before. With community cultures, they go through trauma together, and with individual
Yeah.
cultures, they go through trauma individually. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and like some people needs when they have to overcome the trauma individually.
Yeah.
Some people, it's for some people it's hard for others to
Yes.
pass through this trauma too,
Yes.
and
Overcome it.
they needed help from a side,
Yes. Yes.
and they cannot accept it
Yeah.
because they are individuals.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
this is
Oh my God. Yes. It's the irony of ironies. I absolutely agree. What would you say some of the things that your friends who went to different places than you are trying to deal with that are different from the United States? Are
Different from
there
United
are there differences?
States.
Yeah, that they're like I know your individual, your individual things that you're overcoming here in the US. And we can do those first if you want. I'm just curious about how your friends are dealing with differences in sort of culture at other places.
The first difference I can say, for example, difference of language. So I
Right.
came here with some English language, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like grew up when I've been living here for
Mm-hmm.
a year and 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
and I can communicate.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, my ex, he lives in Germany and he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know German. And
Mm-hmm.
German mentality is far different from others. They're
Right.
super conservative.
Mm-hmm.
They have some, I would say, they're a bit prejudged in a lot of things, and so it's hard for him to deal with this.
Oh wow.
Uh, and he has to learn German, and it's really hard to do this in very fast way to be able to work.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of people passing through the same. So my goddaughter and her mother,
Mm-hmm.
they live in Sweden right now, and they also learning Swedish language because
Yes.
they have to communicate, they have to study, and like my uh, so they have to do the same, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard, and it's more oppressing
Yeah.
when you cannot communicate, when you don't understand people in the shop and or like in the hospital. Even though it makes even
Yeah.
worse the situation, and
Right.
a lot of people. So I came here as AT, like somebody who works in AT, so I could find like very competitive
Right.
work with good salary, but some of my friends they don't have any profession that is being accepted in their countries,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
that's a nightmare. So they have, so for example, if some of my friends were surgeons
Mm-hmm.
in Ukraine, or working like in healthcare in medical university, so
Mm-hmm.
they were on a high level, they were
Right.
appreciated by the society, they got a good salary.
Mm-hmm.
They have to work as janitors, they have to work in groceries, they have to work like all their experience that they were gaining for 20 years, they have to start the life from scratch. And it's super hard.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was lucky that IT is like worldwide and you can work everywhere.
Right.
But a lot of my friends, they cannot afford this, and they have to adapt to the needs of the countries. They have to work in these like low paid jobs to be able to get food, to pay for the apartment, and so on. Yeah, it's really hard for them. I know. Like I try to support them. Like try. I also not sometimes not really good stable mental state,
Yeah.
but I understand that for them it's even harder.
Right.
And we talk a lot. Even the difference in time doesn't like stop me to
Of
like
course.
to wake up sometimes in the night and like ask, "How are you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk?" And she said
Mm-hmm.
like, "It's 3 a.m. on your side. Like,
Mm-hmm.
get some sleep. Like, call me in 5 hours later. I will be okay."
Yeah.
And it's hard, but like we're still like I still feel them on a distance.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is like a small energetical channel that connects
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
tiny thread again.
Yes.
And
Yes.
but we support each other. We're trying to overcome this. We're trying to help each other, and sometimes it helps, sometimes it's not. And like, but like as it is, we this is life.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you make it a priority. Wow. Okay, so let's change directions a little bit so I can get through this and not cry in front of
Okay.
everybody. So, what? See, this is why I laid these questions out in this order because I knew you were going to do this to me. Okay, so what are some of the problems that you weren't expecting here in the US? What are some of the things that maybe we take for granted and just were totally different for you?
Healthcare system was like a bit different to like not a bit.
I love how I love
A
how
lot of
casual you are with that. I love how you're like, oh wow, healthcare did not go the way I expected. No, yeah, no. Healthcare is not going the way a lot of us expected. A
yeah,
lot
it's
of us
like
were surprised.
actually recently I discussed with my friend they like compare the healthcare for example with Canada, United States, and
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine. So the problem that you have to have the health insurance and everything is much slower than in our countries.
Yes.
So, for example, I have issues with my back, and I
Yep.
should always like be very
Yep.
cautious and like be attentive to it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are losing your health insurance, like okay,
Mm-hmm.
like you cannot do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really it's really hard.
Yeah.
And like it increases level that you are not safe. You are like in trouble, and nobody can help you. And
Vulnerable.
especially
Yeah.
like if it's got like vulnerability, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. And also, nobody can help you with this because everything so costly without having health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And that was shocking a bit for me. And also, it's very slow. So, for example, to get an MRI,
Mm-hmm.
you have to talk first to your PCP, then
Mm-hmm.
probably go if it's something related to your skeleton. You should go to the physical therapy, do it for 3 months, and then maybe you will be able to convince your health insurance to like to order
That need
MRI
it.
for you.
Right.
Yeah, that was different, but I already got used to this. It's much better, like it's much faster. For example, in comparison to Germany and Canada,
Mm-hmm.
they have free healthcare, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to wait like in line for
Wow.
months.
Right. Right.
And that's advantage. So like cons and
That's
pros
certainly the
again.
argument they make when we keep trying to revamp our healthcare system. That's certainly the argument they make. That's definitely the one they trot out the most. Well, oh well, wait times are so much worse everywhere with universal healthcare, and you're kind of like, okay, like we'll deal with that suspiciously for now. So, what? Anything else
Yeah.
that was just like totally that shocked you about being here, aside from the fact
Talk
that
to
my
me
children
about
are loud and wake up at 6?
that's actually the best thing I had here. You know, you're like this is like a huge, huge bunches of
They
energy and
are.
like
Yes.
little nuclear reactors. Like
Yes. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
no,
So yeah, don't like your house, like the best thing happened to me.
I'm not. I'm just I remember all the days where they would wake up at 6 a.m. and I would hear you go to bed so much later because you were talking to friends of yours and I would be so glad for you in my heart. And then they'd get up at like 5:30 and they'd be stomping overhead and I'd have to give them breakfast before school and they'd be shrieking and yelling and I was always like, "Oh my god, this poor guy." I always felt so terrible that I invited you under false pretenses to live in my house, right? Like you were assuming that it would just be living like with me and Jay, but it was actually like also living with our very rambunctious and neurospicy babies, right? So I always felt so like, I can't get this together for them. But I'm sure they'll be
No,
thrilled
no,
to.
no, 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 no.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you are wrong in this. It was really nice to live with you. Like, I mean, like, I came, well, like, I left my home.
Right.
I lived in Cyprus for some time. Like, this is like, was like, not my house. I rented it somewhere. Like, I was living in the totally new country, and your house felt like home.
Thank you.
It was like I when I entered it and like I felt like I'm home. This is like a small island where I can take a break, like take a breath, like how to say
Hmm.
it, and then like to
Yeah. Take a breath.
to get rest and to start swimming further.
Mm-hmm.
This is like and so your house, one of the best things that happened to me here.
Oh, well, you were one of the best things that happened to us as well. I was honestly, I know that look, I see you laughing, but you'll remember that I grew up in foster care and I could not take on foster kids myself
Yeah.
because I am not healed enough to do that. But when I knew you were coming and I was kind of able to make up a bed for you and everything, and for Hero Cat, I was like singing. I was pumped. I was so excited to be able to give back in a way that like didn't didn't suck my soul out. In fact, it did the opposite. It made me feel stable. It made me feel happy and glad. And I was I know that feels weird, but like I was so grateful for the opportunity and my kids were so excited and they call you Uncle Andrii now. Still to this day. I said I was going to have this call with you today and like you know, my 8-year-old was like, "Oh, I have a list of questions for him." And I'm like, "No, no, no. I got it, buddy. This is probably not going to be the time for all the questions. Like, but we'll set up a date and have him come by and answer questions. That's fine now that you're a little older." But yeah, no, yeah, you definitely became easily part of our family right away because we, as people, have made family. Like I wasn't, I wasn't really gifted family, so it means so much to me to be able to adopt you, to be able to pull you into our family and make you our own person. Like I'm so grateful to be able to give my children uncles that they can love and respect. So I mean, I'm just as grateful. So I am
Yeah.
nothing but
Let me
gratitude.
show like describe the picture I saw, and I still see. So I'm coming to like somebody invited to their like me to their house. They don't know me well. Yeah, we were like colleagues. We talked a lot, but still we never lived together. And especially you have two kids, like you are dealing with them. You like a lot. You have a lot of tasks during the day, and you invite and like and you taking some like unknown person to your home, and like I was thinking like how brave you are, like how gorgeous you are, like I mean uh, how kind your heart, like you're willing to help, you still like dealing with a lot of tasks during the day and you want to help somebody else. And when I came to you, like I was shocked that like this may happen in this I don't want to say bad world. uh, avoided the word beginning from F.
Yes.
Yeah, so like it's really like it's so exciting that even when the war is happening somewhere in the world, there is a place where miracles can happen, and your home one of these places.
Well, I was just as glad to have you. So I was very grateful to know you. And I hear you saying that you were a stranger, but I talked to you I talked to you over and over. I like it, it was worse for me to imagine what would happen if I didn't just reach my hand out, right? It was worse for me. I didn't think I would be able to live with myself if I didn't put my hand out when you were drowning. You know what I mean? Like I didn't care. Like I knew who you were. I knew your heart. I knew like I figured everything. Like did I know that your cat was going to eat my mice in my basement? I did not. Like but surprise, right? Like life is surprise. Like it I couldn't imagine who I would be if I didn't just do it. I couldn't imagine just stepping over you while you were drowning. So I didn't. And I'm still glad that I didn't. And I'm glad that I was able to teach my children that lesson as the world continues to get more and more chaotic, that we don't just let people on this planet drown. That's right. Like I wanted to show them that example. So I was grateful to have you. And it wasn't a miracle, it was just knowing how much it mattered and doing something about it. So I was very glad. Anyhow, sorry, not to go off on a tangent here, but just I want you to know that it
Thank you.
mattered to me, and I was very glad to be able to be there. So shush. So what I want to kind of wrap us up here with, I have a couple more questions for you. I know I said I wouldn't take too much of
Okay,
your life.
sure.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
So I wanted to know, I've heard a couple of journalists say that war is worse in the second year. Does that strike you as true, or how do you feel about that? Do you feel like this is worse now that it's gone on for so long?
It's not the worst, but it's different. It's different because people also adapted to it. They got used to it. And desperate that probably nothing will change makes them think to give up.
Yeah.
Because you never know, we don't know when it will end. It's so it's so like unpredictable.
Right.
You see everything is changing, and you don't know actually what will happen tomorrow. And a lot of people want to continue living their life like it was before the war.
Right.
And there are a lot of like things. I cannot say that it's really super different.
Right.
But mm, that but knowing that your future is unknown and you
Right.
every day is like maybe the last day,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard. People like start thinking to give up.
Really.
It's really hard. Yeah.
Right. So I want to end on a lighter note, because I'm so proud of you and all that you've achieved by coming here. So what I'm curious about is, have you had any experiences where you've been here for long enough that you just do something or say something and you think to yourself, oh God, I'm becoming American? Like, have you done anything or casually just said something that made you feel like you're turning into American?
Yeah, we were discussing this already, but I started to respect personal boundaries so much. Like I started to feel them.
Yeah.
It's really a problem of our society that you cannot be different. So if you are straight, you should have a family. You should buy a house. You should like live like standard like some commonly accepted lifestyle.
Right.
And you
Right.
cannot be different because
Right.
it's triggering other people to change and they don't want to do this. And this is like a crab bucket, and
Yeah.
they push you to be the same. They
Yes.
push you
Yes.
to choose the same things. And right now, when I see something different, like I was doing the same actually, I was like the same crab in the bucket, trying to pull
Yeah.
back everybody who trying to change
Try to
their
do
life
something
to
else.
live
Yeah.
easier, live better. Yes, some to be somebody else. And here, when I see something different, I just accept this. I don't want to change. I don't want like I'm just enjoying enjoying the diversity of the society of people that people want can do everything and like
Yeah.
that's so good in comparison to our society. It's pretty hard there and I'm still like learning learning to be like free in my choices and not feeling, like, oh, what my mother will think about this, or like it's something uncommon, like, and or I like any choice that was opposite to the choices of society. There are not too much of them because society is pretty already like pre-select all the choices already pre-selected for you. So you should like grow up, find a wife, have a kids, build a house, die somewhere like happy, and so on. Like you cannot choose anything, like because everybody
Right.
pushing you to have a family to do the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
and here I'm like I let's say I was in good context. I was contaminated with this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is And it's like I'm feeling like it's spreading in my body, and like I'm
Mm,
getting more free. It's really so cool.
that's
And
awesome.
also like I'm getting American. Like I started to think in English. Sometimes I go to the
Oh
groceries
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
my internal voice
Is
started to
is is
talk
English.
in English. Yeah.
Now you're thinking at yourself in English. Perfect. That's exactly. That's how they get you. That's how they get you. All right, look, I want to talk about this forever, but I don't want to take up all of your life. Even though I'd like this conversation to go on forever, we have to let this incredible human get back to his new life and his very handsome cat. But Andrii is a consultant, so if you're listening and you're thinking, oh my God, I've got to get this guy on my team, Andrii, tell people how they can follow you or get in touch.
LinkedIn,
Yep.
phone number, I can share it here. Call me right now. I will help to deal with all your problems.
We'll help you with all your problems. Awesome. All right, my dear, thank you for sharing your incredible story with us today. You are so silly. I know that this personal lens on a world event will certainly change hearts and minds. Do you have
Yeah, yeah.
any charities that you'd like people to donate to help Ukrainians to ease suffering?
Yes, I definitely have, and I have a lot of them because, like, a lot of Ukrainians just like exhausted all their financial
Mm-hmm.
resources, and I
Mm-hmm.
have like, I'm getting a lot of messages. Do you have somebody that can help you? Can help us
Yes.
to buy a car, like to buy some ammo or like ammunition,
Mm-hmm.
and so like equipment. We have a lot of them. So if somebody can help us with this, like to that, like it's saving lives. I recently got a message in Messenger from my friend that helped somebody, and he got a message that your everything you bought just saved a life just
Wow.
yesterday.
Yes.
And so it's really like you're helping a lot if you can. It's like it's really saving lives.
That's awesome. Okay, send me the links. I'm going to have all of the links in the show comments so that we can help Andrei's friends and family
Yeah.
and everything, and the beautiful country of Ukraine. Y'all, thank you for tuning in today. If you'd enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the Indomitable podcast for more uplifting stories of triumph. Even though this story was a little bit sad today, we normally do go through real stuff. So if you are local to me, please make a note of the fact that I will be signing books at Copper Dog in Beverly on Tuesday, November 26th at 6 p.m. And I would love to see you there, whether or not you have read my new book, Indomitable, or if you're just grabbing a copy for the first time. I am so happy to have you in community. And remember, together we are truly indomitable. Take care, everybody.